When you think of Carrie-Anne Moss, most people immediately picture the fierce and unforgettable Trinity from The Matrix, but before all the action and Hollywood lights, there was a young girl growing up quietly in Canada with big dreams. Born on August 21, 1967, in Burnaby, British Columbia, Carrie-Anne's early life was much like any other kid's, filled with family dinners, school days, and moments of discovery. But even from a young age, you could tell she was different. She had this natural spark, a curiosity that went beyond the ordinary. Growing up, Carrie-Anne was drawn to creative expression. Whether it was dancing, acting, or just being playful on stage in school performances, she loved the feeling of connecting with people through storytelling and movement. Her parents recognized that passion early on and encouraged her to explore it, providing a stable home life that balanced support with a sense of responsibility. It wasn't always easy. Like any teenager, she faced her share of struggles, but that foundation helped shape the determined woman she would become. At just 17, while many teens were still figuring out what to do with their lives, Carrie-Anne took a leap of faith. She left her hometown behind and moved to Toronto, a bigger city with more opportunities to seriously study acting. It was a bold move that many young hopefuls wouldn't dare to make. But Carrie-Anne had a vision for herself, and she was ready to chase it no matter how uncertain the road ahead might be. That decision set the stage for an incredible journey, one filled with challenges, growth, and ultimately success. After making that big move to Toronto, Carrie-Anne Moss quickly realized that breaking into the acting world was anything but easy. It wasn't like walking into a room and instantly landing a leading role, far from it. The entertainment industry can be tough, especially for someone new, with tons of competition and rejection around every corner. But Carrie-Anne wasn't the type to give up easily. She started out taking small parts, commercials, minor TV roles, anything that would get her in front of a camera. It was all about gaining experience, learning the ropes, and proving to herself that she belonged. Those early days were full of hustle and hustle. Long hours, endless auditions, sometimes waiting weeks just to hear back from casting directors. It could be frustrating and exhausting. But Carrie-Anne kept pushing forward because she loved the craft and she believed in her potential. She also took acting classes to sharpen her skills, soaking up everything she could about performance, character development, and the technical side of the industry. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Carrie-Anne started landing more substantial roles, mostly in Canadian television series. She appeared in shows like Dark Justice and Street Legal, slowly building a resume that showed she was more than just a pretty face. These roles helped her develop range and confidence, allowing her to experiment with different characters and genres. Each job was a stepping stone, teaching her valuable lessons about the business and herself. It's important to understand that during this time, the industry was still a challenging place for women trying to break out, especially in Canada. Opportunities were limited, and female roles were often stereotyped or one-dimensional. But Carrie-Anne had something different. A quiet determination paired with undeniable talent that set her apart. She didn't just want to be another actress. She wanted to be a storyteller. Someone who could bring depth and authenticity to her characters. Those years of struggle and persistence weren't glamorous, but they laid the foundation for what was to come. Every audition, every small role, every no was part of the journey that prepared Carrie-Anne Moss for the moment she would finally break through and make her mark on Hollywood. Carrie-Anne Moss's career really skyrocketed in 1999 when she landed one of the most iconic roles in modern film history, Trinity in The Matrix. Before this, she was steadily building her career with various TV and film roles, but nothing prepared her for the massive cultural impact of this groundbreaking sci-fi thriller. The Matrix wasn't just any movie, it was a game changer. A film that challenged the boundaries of storytelling, special effects, and the way action films portrayed heroes and heroines. Landing the role of Trinity was no small feat. The part required someone who could bring together physicality, intelligence, and emotional depth. Carrie-Anne nailed it perfectly. She was not just the cool, leather-clad action star. She was the heart of the story, balancing toughness with subtle vulnerability. Her portrayal broke stereotypes, showing audiences a female character who was equally skilled, smart, and emotionally complex, not just a sidekick or love interest. Filming The Matrix was reportedly intense and demanding. Carrie-Anne had to undergo rigorous physical training, including martial arts and stunt work, to make Trinity believable as a fighter. The long hours and tough scenes tested her endurance, but she embraced the challenge wholeheartedly. The dedication she showed on set was clear in the final product, a confident, fierce, and compelling character who could take on anything the virtual world threw at her. The success of The Matrix was immediate and overwhelming. It became a cultural phenomenon, inspiring fans, artists, and filmmakers alike. Carrie-Anne Moss instantly became a household name across the globe. The film won multiple awards and spawned 2 sequels, both of which Carrie-Anne returned to as Trinity, further expanding the character's story and her own star power. But fame came with its own pressures. Suddenly, Carrie-Anne was under intense scrutiny from the media and fans, and the expectations for her next roles were sky-high. She had to navigate this new level of celebrity, with grace choosing projects that resonated with her personally, rather than simply chasing fame. This careful balance allowed her to sustain a long and respected career beyond The Matrix. Moreover, the impact of Carrie-Anne's Trinity went beyond entertainment. She became a symbol of strong, complex female characters in a genre that often sidelined women. Trinity inspired a generation of viewers and creators to rethink how women could be portrayed on screen as leaders, fighters, and nuanced individuals, not just accessories to male heroes. This legacy is part of why Carrie-Anne Moss remains a beloved figure in Hollywood today. After the massive success of the Matrix trilogy, many actors find themselves typecast or overwhelmed by the expectations tied to such a defining role. But Carrie-Anne Moss took a different path. Instead of sticking only to action or sci-fi projects, she expanded her horizons and explored a wide range of roles that showcased her versatility as an actress. One of the remarkable things about Carrie-Anne is how she didn't let Hollywood box her into a single type. After playing such a strong, iconic character like Trinity, she could have easily been pigeonholed as the action star. But she consciously sought out characters that challenged her in new ways, from dramatic roles to complex characters in independent films and TV dramas. For example, in the early 2000s, Carrie-Anne starred in movies like Memento 2000, a mind-bending thriller where she played a layered character who was both mysterious and emotionally intense. This was a big shift from her sci-fi fame and proved she could handle complex storytelling and deep emotional arcs. She also appeared in Disturbia 2007, where she took on a more grounded, relatable role as a mother navigating difficult family dynamics. Beyond films, Carrie-Anne invested significant time in television. She starred in several TV series such as Jessica Jones on Netflix, where she played Jerry Hogarth, a tough, high-powered lawyer. This role was a great example of her continued commitment to portraying strong, nuanced female characters. Her presence on the small screen brought her to a new generation of viewers and kept her career fresh and relevant. Carrie-Anne also embraced theater work, showing her dedication to the craft in a live setting, which requires different skills than film or TV. Her stage performances earned her respect within the acting community and allowed her to reconnect with the fundamentals of acting, sharpening her abilities even further. Despite the shift in mediums and genres, what stayed constant was her focus on authenticity. Carrie-Anne's choices were clearly driven by a desire to portray real, relatable characters, rather than just chase blockbuster fame. This approach helped her build a diverse portfolio that spans decades and demonstrates her depth and range as an actress. When we think about Carrie-Anne Moss, most people immediately picture her as Trinity from The Matrix, the strong, cool, action-packed heroine who pretty much redefined female roles in sci-fi movies. But there's so much more to her than just that iconic character. What really makes Carrie-Anne stand out isn't just her impressive career or her on-screen presence. It's the person she is when the cameras stop rolling. She's someone who has managed to stay grounded and true to herself, despite the fame and pressure that comes with Hollywood life, and that's honestly pretty inspiring. Carrie-Anne is known for being incredibly down-to-earth and approachable. You won't catch her acting like a diva or demanding special treatment. In fact, she's often described by people who've worked with her as warm, kind, and genuinely caring. That kind of attitude is rare in an industry that can be so focused on image and ego. Her humility and openness have earned her not only respect, but also real friendships, which is no small feat in Hollywood. Beyond her acting, Carrie-Anne is deeply passionate about environmental and humanitarian causes. She's not just a face lending her name to charity, she's actively involved in supporting sustainability, clean water initiatives, and women's rights organizations. She uses her platform thoughtfully, trying to make a positive difference, rather than simply boosting her public image. It's clear she cares about leaving a legacy that goes beyond entertainment. Another big part of her life is family. Carrie-Anne is a mother, and she often talks about how motherhood has changed her perspective on life and work. For her family isn't something she tacks on to her busy schedule, it's central to who she is. She said that becoming a mom taught her patience, balance, and a whole new kind of strength. These lessons show in how she handles her career and public life, always striving to keep things real and meaningful. Of course, navigating fame hasn't been without its challenges. Carrie-Anne has been open about the pressures of being in the spotlight. The constant public scrutiny, the unrealistic expectations, and the feeling that you always have to prove yourself all over again. But instead of letting those pressures define her, she's chosen to focus on authenticity and personal growth. She believes that success isn't just about trophies or box office hits, but about staying true to who you are and what you believe in. Her journey hasn't always been straightforward either. Like many actors, she's had to reinvent herself over the years, shifting between genres, embracing new kinds of roles, and adapting to an industry that's constantly evolving. But through all of it, Carrie-Anne has maintained a clear sense of identity. She's resilient, flexible, and unafraid to take risks when it comes to her craft. That kind of mindset is what keeps her career fresh and exciting even decades after her breakthrough role. When you hear her talk about her work, one thing really stands out: passion. Carrie-Anne emphasizes that passion is what fuels everything from acting to activism to family life. She believes that if you don't put your heart into what you do, it won't matter. This isn't just lip service, it's the driving force behind her choices and the way she lives day to day. It's also why she's been able to build a career that's not just successful, but deeply fulfilling. So while the world knows Carrie-Anne Moss as a powerful, iconic actress, the real story is about a woman of substance, someone who uses her talents to inspire, who cares deeply about the world around her, and who remains humble and authentic despite all the lights and cameras. That's the legacy she's building, and it's one that will outlast any role or movie. One of the coolest things about Carrie-Anne Moss is how she's never been afraid to evolve. In an industry where many actors get stuck playing the same type of role over and over, Carrie-Anne has consistently pushed herself to try new things and stretch her skills. She didn't just settle for being that action star from The Matrix. Instead, she looked for roles that challenged her and helped her grow as an actress. After the Matrix trilogy, which catapulted her into global fame, she didn't just rest on her laurels. She explored a range of genres from drama to thriller, and even comedy, proving she was more than a one-trick pony. Movies like Memento and TV shows like Jessica Jones allowed her to dive into darker, more complex characters. These roles gave her the chance to show different sides of her acting, making her career feel fresh and unpredictable. It's not just about the roles she chooses, but how she approaches them. Carrie-Anne is known for being incredibly prepared and thoughtful about her characters. She doesn't just memorize lines, she digs deep to understand the motivations and emotions behind her parts. This dedication really shows on screen, and it's why so many directors and co-stars love working with her. She brings a level of professionalism and heart that elevates every project. At the same time, she's embraced new platforms and ways of storytelling. With the rise of streaming services and limited series, Carrie-Anne has taken advantage of these opportunities to reach audiences in fresh ways. Her work on Jessica Jones, for example, introduced her to a whole new generation of viewers and allowed her to be part of a groundbreaking story about strength, trauma, and redemption. This willingness to adapt keeps her career exciting and relevant no matter how much the industry changes. Another key to her longevity is her balance between career and personal life. Unlike many stars who push themselves to burnout, Carrie-Anne has spoken openly about setting boundaries and prioritizing well-being. She knows the importance of taking breaks, spending time with family, and nurturing her own interests outside of acting. This balance helps her stay energized and passionate, which ultimately benefits her work. Carrie-Anne's journey is a great example of what it means to be an artist in the modern world. It's not just about fame or big roles, it's about constantly evolving, staying curious, and being willing to take risks. Her career shows us that success is a marathon, not a sprint, and that true artistry comes from growth and authenticity. For fans and aspiring actors alike, Carrie-Anne Moss stands as a shining example of how to build a lasting, meaningful career. One of the most impressive things about Carrie-Anne Moss is how she stood out as a strong woman in an industry that hasn't always made it easy for women to shine. Hollywood, especially when she started out, was pretty notorious for putting actresses into narrow boxes: the damsel in distress, the love interest, or the eye candy. But Carrie-Anne has always pushed against those limits. Her role as Trinity in The Matrix wasn't just a cool action character. She showed that women could be just as tough, smart, and complex as any male hero. Trinity wasn't just there to support Neo, she was a fighter, a leader, and someone with her own agency. This role became a huge inspiration for many women both inside and outside the industry, because it broke stereotypes and gave female characters real power and depth. Carrie-Anne has spoken openly about the challenges women face in Hollywood, from fewer roles to being judged more harshly on looks or age. But instead of letting those pressures hold her back, she used her voice and platform to encourage change. She's been part of conversations about gender equality, diversity, and better representation in film and TV. In a way, she's helped open doors for the next generation of actresses to take on more dynamic and meaningful roles. What's really admirable is that Carrie-Anne doesn't just talk the talk, she walks the walk. She's picked roles that challenge traditional ideas of femininity roles, where women are complicated, flawed, strong, and vulnerable all at once. That kind of nuanced portrayal is still relatively rare, and she's been at the forefront of making it more normal. Besides her acting, she's also inspired many by how she balances her career and personal life. Being a strong woman doesn't mean doing it all alone or sacrificing yourself for your job. Carrie-Anne shows that it's possible to have a successful career and still prioritize family self-care and personal growth. She's been a role model in demonstrating that strength comes in many forms. Her impact goes beyond just her filmography. It's about the message she sends through her choices and how she represents women on screen and off. Carrie-Anne Moss has carved out a space where female strength is celebrated without losing complexity or authenticity. That's a legacy that resonates with a lot of people and keeps inspiring future storytellers. While Carrie-Anne Moss is widely celebrated for her impressive acting career, there's so much more to her life beyond the camera. She's not just an actress, she's a wife, a mother, and someone deeply passionate about living a balanced and meaningful life. For Carrie-Anne, family is a huge priority. Despite the demands of Hollywood, she's always worked hard to keep her personal life grounded and close-knit. She often speaks about how her family keeps her centered, helping her stay true to herself, even when the spotlight gets intense. Aside from family, Carrie-Anne has many passions that fuel her spirit. She's an advocate for health and wellness, often embracing yoga and meditation as tools to maintain both physical and mental well-being. This side of her shows how she values inner strength and balance, which probably plays a big part in how she manages the pressures of the entertainment industry. Carrie-Anne also dedicates time and effort to charitable causes. She's involved in organizations that focus on helping children, supporting education, and promoting environmental sustainability. Giving back is clearly important to her, and she uses her voice and influence to bring attention to issues that matter. This shows a different dimension of her life, one that's about making a positive impact beyond the fame and glitz. Balancing all these roles isn't always easy, but Carrie-Anne seems to handle it with grace. She's a great example of how a successful career and a fulfilling personal life don't have to be mutually exclusive. For her, living authentically and staying connected to what truly matters is what makes life rich and rewarding. Looking back at Carrie-Anne Moss's journey, there's a lot to learn from her story. She's shown that success isn't just about fame or awards, it's about staying true to who you are, pushing boundaries, and being willing to grow. Through her career, she's faced challenges like many others, but her resilience and determination have always helped her come out stronger. One of the biggest lessons she offers is the importance of authenticity. Carrie-Anne encourages aspiring actors and anyone chasing their dreams to never lose sight of themselves. She believes that when you stay genuine and work hard, opportunities will come, and the right roles will find you. Her legacy goes beyond the roles she's played. Carrie-Anne Moss has helped change how women are seen in Hollywood as complex, powerful, and multifaceted individuals. She's inspired a whole generation of performers to demand more meaningful roles and to represent women in all their diversity. If there's one piece of advice she gives to young artists, it's to embrace challenges and stay patient. Success doesn't happen overnight, and the path can be tough. But if you keep your passion alive and your integrity intact, you can build a career that's not only successful, but also fulfilling. Carrie-Anne's story is a reminder that the journey matters just as much as the destination. It's about growth, learning, and using your voice to make a difference. And that's something anyone can relate to, whether you're an actor, artist, or just someone chasing your own dreams. If you enjoyed learning about Carrie-Anne Moss's incredible journey and the lessons she has to offer, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more inspiring stories from the world of film and entertainment. What's your favorite Carrie-Anne Moss role? Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear which performance impacted you the most. And if you're chasing your own dreams, remember Carrie-Anne's story. Stay authentic, be patient, and keep pushing forward. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.